Welcome to the summer edition of The Business and this special program on superannuation. I'm Kirsten Aiken. The collapse of the First Guardian and Shield investment funds exposed deep flaws in Australia's superannuation sector. Thousands of Australians saw their retirement savings vanish. The corporate regulator is taking action against multiple individuals and entities. This report from Mackenzie Colohan and Nassim Kadem.
He wants a discount on it, and I'm waiting on Tasty Spices to offer us a discounted price. That's why
Juan Carlos Sanchez runs a family-owned food wholesale business his grandparents started in Melbourne in the 1950s.
It's a long drive for him, so I want to make sure he gets out early.
He's worked hard his whole life and put money away for retirement, but the 41-year-old says a decision to change superannuation providers may have cost him his life savings.
You know, they were talking numbers of, we'll have you $800,000 in your super by the time you retire, $1 million, you know, really crazy things like that. And unfortunately, I fell into it a little bit and I got a bit excited. That's all right, all good, beautiful.
He was sold a dream by financial advisory firm VentureEgg, whose telemarketers convinced him to leave ANZ and transfer his super to Ozprac. The money was then funneled into a managed investment scheme called First Guardian that collapsed after withdrawals were frozen.
When I got that email, my stomach dropped. I've spoken to some people in their mid-60s, $350,000 gone.
The federal court has slapped travel restrictions and asset freezes on directors of Falcon Capital, the trustees behind First Guardian. According to court documents filed by the Australian Securities and Investments Commission, it's alleged one of the directors, David Anderson, moved $274 million into offshore companies tied to him shortly after he was alerted to the corporate watchdog's probe. Tens of millions of investor cash was also poured into his own failed property developments, craft breweries and a struggling restaurant group. $5.5 million was allegedly transferred into his personal bank account, some of which was used to make a mortgage payment on his $9 million Yarra Riverfront home, and $45 million was paid in marketing fees to lead generators who used a network of financial advisors to funnel investors into the scheme.
We think this is on an industrial scale.
Mr. Anderson declined to be interviewed, his lawyer telling ABC News he did not wish to participate in a trial by media and that ASIC's allegations were untested in court. Christian Eriksen had all of his $140,000 in retirement savings invested in First Guardian through superannuation platform NetWealth.
As far as I was aware, every entity in that superannuation platform was a government-regulated superannuation fund.
Mr. Eriksen isn't the only one with questions about the oversight of high-risk managed investment schemes and their relationship to financial advisors and superannuation platforms, including those offered by major investment firms, which ASIC says needs to do more to protect people's superannuation.
Because some of these funds sat on platforms like Macquarie or Equity Trustees, they thought that gave the funds some kind of legitimacy. In fact, some of them thought they were investing in Macquarie funds themselves.
Investors also blame regulators for stepping in too late and want the government to cover their losses.
Whatever checks and balances are put in place, they're not fit for purpose. They don't work, because if they did, we wouldn't be in this situation.
ASIC says it's usually only alerted to problems when it receives complaints.
These investors, we acknowledge, are in an extraordinarily difficult position. We have acted on the information available to us as quickly and with as much force as we consider we've been able to do.
The people that are responsible for this, I hope that they watch it one day. You're ruining people's lives.
Leaving many to rethink their future.
The head of a company that licensed financial advisors to sell the failed schemes says he has nothing to answer for. The corporate watchdog says it didn't miss any red flags and intends to take more action against those involved. Here's Nassim Kadem.
When Mel Wallers learned she could lose her retirement savings, she almost took her own life.
mentally. And, you know, I went to a really dark place because of this, and almost did something really stupid, and I don't want to, and I've spoken to other people who considered what I considered.
Lured in by telemarketers promising high returns, she was put in touch with financial advisors at a firm called United Global Capital, which has since been wound up.
It's just a cookie cutter approach. Everyone has the same wording.
The advisors convinced her to move her money, $370,000 from industry fund Hostplus into a self-managed option.
They were very pushy. They were very good salespeople, and I don't think I'd ever encountered, you know, that kind of sales tactic that they were using.
Her money was put into a managed investment scheme called First Guardian, which has since collapsed. So I'm heading now to Interprac to interview their managing director, Gary Kroll. Now, Interprac was the licensee that many of the financial planners that were pumping people into these products, First Guardian and Shield, were sitting under. So I'm going to be putting some questions to Gary about their role in all of this.
Ferris Murray's advice firm Venture Egg was bringing in hundreds of clients a month into Interprac.
Yes.
Did Interprac increase oversight when it saw these high volumes coming in?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We increased oversight.
But what was the oversight, Gary? Can you explain how that looked?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Regular training of all his staff, regular reviews of his statements of advice.
Ferris Murray declined to be interviewed, but told ABC News every allegation of unlawful conduct that ASIC has made will be strenuously defended in the court proceedings. 6,000 investors who put cash into First Guardian are owed $445 million, and the 5,800 people who invested in Shield are staring down losses of up to $480 million. Both were accessed through well-known superannuation platforms including Macquarie, Diversa, Netwealth and Equity Trustees.
Absolutely believe the trustees will see that they've made some errors in putting these funds on.
What due diligence was done on those products before they went onto the platform?
The corporate watchdog ASIC is asking the same question. It's suing Equity Trustees and has flagged action against others could follow. The super funds were approached but declined to comment.
We are certainly exploring every option that we can as to whether and how we can get money back to these investors who, you know, in our view have been so wronged.
Something Mel would like to see to get her retirement savings back on track.
And if you or someone you know needs help, you can contact Beyond Blue or Lifeline. There has been a glimmer of good news for some Australians who'd invested their retirement savings into the failed funds, including 3,000 who will be repaid by Macquarie after using its super platform to invest in Shield between 2022 and 2023. They'll receive a total of $321 million after the banking giant admitted it hadn't acted honestly or fairly by failing to place Shield on a watch list for heightened monitoring.
We've also had a very successful outcome against Netwealth. And in that outcome, Netwealth, importantly, have undertaken to repay or compensate to investors on the platform it made available to members more than $100 million to around 1,000 Australians. Those monies will be paid by the 30th of January, and if you combine the Macquarie outcome and the Netwealth outcome, we have to date managed to recover about 40% of the monies that were invested in these two failed funds. And we also have continuing court action against two other trustees that were involved, we allege, in these failures against Equity Trustees and Diversa.
Diversa has said it will vigorously defend the allegations. After the collapses of First Guardian and Shield, the super sector will now be required to contribute to a compensation scheme for victims of financial misconduct. And in a different case, the financial regulator has taken on super fund Hester for administration failures that stopped members accessing their funds for 7 weeks. APRA has imposed new licence conditions on the fund. The action follows months of reporting by this program on the consequences of the disruption for some members. Adelaide Miller reports.
Glyn Lewis visits his wife Mandy at her nursing home most days.
All little tiny flowers there.
He says he almost had to take her out when the couple couldn't access her super to pay the bills.
It was quite stressful for a long time. Not knowing where the money was or how to get the money was a real issue.
HESTA is a super fund that supports the people who spend their working lives helping others.
She's a member of one of Australia's largest super funds, HESTA, which underwent a 7-week planned outage when it changed its administration provider. That's now resulted in regulatory action. APRA said the outage resulted in a severe, prolonged disruption to member services and caused direct harm to members. It identified deficiencies in HESTA's board governance, and it's ordering the super fund to conduct separate independent reviews of its risk management framework and board effectiveness.
This is important action from the regulator and first of its kind in relation to these types of administration failures.
The action by APRA comes after months of reporting by the ABC, which heard members almost lost home deposits, were forced to cancel surgeries and cut back on daily spending because they were frozen out of their retirement savings.
After the ABC contacted HESTA about the Lewis's case, they were able to access their money. The super fund has apologised to members, saying we take the matters raised by APRA very seriously and are cooperating fully with the regulator. Mr Lewis has a message for HESTA.
They deserve it. They certainly need to pick up their game.
To look after the 1.1 million members trusting HESTA with their money.
In further condemnation of the superannuation sector in 2025, ASIC revealed widespread systemic governance failures into the handling of death benefit payments. It found 78% of the claims it reviewed had delays caused by processing issues within trustees' control.
We've really worked very hard on improving processes and responding better to what the public rightfully expect of their super fund.
And in November, superannuation giant Cbus was ordered to pay a $23.5 million fine over its handling of death and disability insurance claims. ASIC is now looking into how all super funds handle claims for total and permanent disability. Nazim Kadem reports.
William Johns runs a business that helps people make total and permanent disability claims. He says payments are sometimes delayed without justification.
Superannuation funds often request additional information that's either being covered. They may have lost information that we have already sent.
He says delays cause severe financial hardship. On average, it takes just over 3.5 months for a decision to be made on a claim. 91.5% of them are accepted and paid out.
If we see failure that looks and feels systemic, super funds can expect this will be an area where we will use all our regulatory tools.
The super industry says members are working to lift standards, but it's challenging as mental health claims rise.
There's been a 732% increase over 10 years of people just in between the ages of 30 and 40 because they cannot work anymore due to mental ill health.
Consumer groups want super funds to respond to claims within specific timeframes, which the industry is opposed to. Assistant Treasurer Daniel Molino says there's been some areas where some funds have fallen short and the government's consulting on new standards to improve how they engage with members. A change that could help Australians when they need it most.
Thanks for watching this summer special of The Business. The 2026 season returns on ABC News and ABC TV on Monday, February 2nd. See you soon.